Coming Home, a podcast with Lane Kennedy. All right, welcome back. Hi guys, I hope you're doing great today. I am really thrilled to be doing this series. And you know what? I just have to say I'm really grateful that you come back and you listen and that you spread this news, right? You spread the comments and the stories that I have to share. I really, really appreciate that. So thank you for being here with me and my guest. And today I am thrilled because this is a mini series that I'm hosting right now. And it's all about, well, being more conscious, right? Like I talk a lot about getting involved with or getting in touch with your intuition and about broadening your awareness. And today in this series, we're talking about consciousness and going beyond the mind. And my guest today is Tamara Iglesias, and she's the founder of Yoga Nidra. I met her in my Yoga Nidra training, and it was just like a fast bond, like instant. And she is like I said, she's the founder of Wellness, which is a conscious parenting company dedicated to raising whole beings from the very beginning. So important. She coaches moms and fathers alike, and Tamara helps empower families to live happy and nourished lives. Okay, amen to that. I think we're on the same page with raising kiddos. And if you've been listening to me for a while, or you've been following me for a while, you know that I have a 9-year-old and Tamara has a 5 3/4 little girl. And so we're going to get into our show. Welcome, Tamara. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful in this moment.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, it is this moment. That's all we have is the moment. I get a lot of times, what's the difference between meditation and mindfulness? And it's like, let's just stay right here in this present moment. And then you have an opportunity to experience mindfulness. And they're like, oh, that's it? I'm like, yeah, let's just keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple, So I want to hear, and I want our listeners to hear about you and your journey of finding this consciousness. And you, in particular, you've gone into the parenting space and raising kids, but I want to hear a little bit of background story on how you have personally evolved into this greater consciousness. Like what's happened here to you?
Yeah. Well, first I'll share that I think it's a constant evolution. There's never arriving at a place. I will move past a limitation, move past an obstacle, heal a layer of myself, and I get to a different operating system, a different way of existing with myself and other people, and a different level of consciousness. But I don't view this as ever kind of getting fully somewhere, because the one thing I've learned in life is always going to be this wave. It's always going to be ups and downs. And the more aware that I become, the more I'm able to have a almost neutral perspective to the highs and lows of life. And I think that's been some of my greatest work, is not letting those highs and lows take me on this massive wave, but instead I get to ride this steady train of awareness, self-awareness, healing, observation, all of these things that bring me back into my body, bring me back into the present moment, which is so powerful and profound with our children, because we can easily get caught up in our triggers. We can easily get caught up in their emotions, and then our emotions roll right on top of theirs. And then we've got this like emotional storm happening, and everyone's feeling disconnected, and no one's feelings are being honored, and everyone's nervous systems are like, shooting into the sympathetic fight or flight situation. And then we're just living in a stress response. So some of my biggest like conscious work has been, how can I live in a way in my physical body to bring my stress levels down, so I have the greatest opportunity to tap into my intuition, to tap into my inner wisdom, to tap into my empathy and compassion for other people, and to tap into my compassion and empathy for myself. If I'm not operating from a place of knowing and attempting and trying and living my life in kindness and grace and gentleness to myself, then I can't operate in that world to anyone else. And
So
I think
true.
that goes a really long way, you know, and
Mhm.
there's so many
Mhm.
other layers to this, but just that piece is a really big piece. And part of my consciousness journey has been it's just a healing journey. For me, it's been a healing journey. It's been coming back to the remembrance of who I am. It's been coming back to wholeness. It's been coming back to the knowing that I am this limitless, abundant, love-filled being worthy of everything in this world. And I think we come into this world as that. And that's my work as a conscious parenting coach, right? How do I support my mamas and my papas and my families to find this wholeness within themselves so
Mhm.
that they can cultivate this wholeness within their children? And in that self-awareness comes the opportunity for the greatest connection and bond we can have with not only our children, but ourselves.
So let's back up, because some of my listeners are like, what are they talking about? They're like,
Yeah.
what, like I've had quite a journey of breakdowns and breakthroughs. And so like, how did you even get on this kind of path, right? Like, what was that moment where you're like, shit needs to change?
Yeah. For me, it was at 19.
Mm.
Um, I had lived on the outside a pretty shiny, awesome, you know, quote stereotypical, like great life, you know,
Mhm.
straight A student, popular girl in school, varsity athlete, scholarship to college, you know, went off to college, got a scholarship to run, um, rushed sororities, got into whichever one I wanted, you know, like had amazing friends, all of this goodness. While at the same time, during all of those years from 12 to 19, I was suffering from a massive eating disorder and
Ugh.
in really big pain and
Mhm.
discomfort within myself and the way I was existing in the world. I think, and this comes back so much to parenting too, is I'm a very sensitive being.
You
And I
are.
don't think my
That's what I
sensitivity,
love about you. You're so like, yeah, I love that.
and I don't have the most sensitive parents, which is totally okay. We don't need to be like someone to honor someone.
Yep.
However, and again, why I now do this conscious parenting work is if someone had seen my sensitivity and had been able to
Mhm.
cultivate that and honor that, I think I wouldn't have had to suffer so much in my own isolation and my own pain, right? A lot of times
Mhm.
sensitive children are told that, you know, they're dramatic, they're too much, they're making
Right.
this, you know, and it's just like shut down, shut down, shut down.
Mhm.
And no blame. I love my parents. You know, I truly believe that every parent out there is doing the best they can with the
Mhm.
tools they have. They
Yep.
have the same way I say our children are doing the best they can with the brain they have, the best, you know, from a developmental stage, the best they can with the body they have that day, the best they can with the nourishment they have that day. Like
Mhm.
all of these things matter.
Mhm.
And so I was hurting, you know, there's abuse cycle in my family. And I think as, you know, how deep we want to get, I think I stood up in my family lineage and was like, I'm here, I'm ready to heal this cycle of
Yeah.
abuse. And the one of the results of that was an eating disorder because it was the only way I could control a lot of things in my life. And it all burst at 19. So here I
Wow.
was in college, you know, I'd rushed sorority, lots of friends, varsity athlete, and I collapsed one day after a race because I had my throat closed up and I couldn't breathe. And I was taken to the school hospital, and it came out that I had mono, but also the nurse like started
Mm.
seeing the flags. Like I had heart palpitations, I had blood, you know, coming up, like just all the signs. And
Yeah.
she basically was the one that helped me get help. And,
Mhm.
you know, they brought my parents in and it was a school decision. Like, it's not safe for you to continue at school. You need to go get help until you can get
Wow.
better. So
Good.
the plug was pulled from my life, you know,
Yeah.
this like perfect life on the outside. And I had no choice but to look at everything in my life. And it
Yep.
was the biggest unraveling I had come to at that
Yeah.
point. You know, at
God, you
19,
were
my
so
world fell
young.
apart.
You were
Yeah.
such a baby.
Such a baby, such a baby. So
Wow. So
in many,
lucky.
I know, actually do view it as lucky. I
Yeah.
really do. I mean, my spiritual journey started at 19 years old. Like I had
Yeah.
no
That
choice.
is
I was
like
like,
incredible.
yeah. And it was kind of like a, do I want to live? Do I want to die? And
Yeah.
that, and those are the
Yeah.
cycles, unfortunately, a lot of time in those eating disorder hospitals, it can either be this awakening. Like
Yep.
for me, it was an awakening. And I was like, this is not my life. This is not why I was put on this planet.
Yeah.
I'm never coming back here. I am getting better. And like, for me, it was just an uphill, like, yes, there were like little, mishaps, this, 2 steps
Mhm.
forward, 1 step back. But I was like, it was a massive awakening and shift in my life. And so
That's
many things
amazing.
came to the surface. A
Yeah.
lot of us don't get to know our whys. And I
Yeah.
got to uncover so many whys through therapy, and my clarity and direction of what I wanted to heal and how I wanted to shift happened. And I got better
God,
in a
it's
couple
so
of years.
so amazing. I mean, it's just everybody has a journey, right? And some people choose to get on it and some people don't.
Yeah.
Or they get on it so late in life, you know? And
Yeah.
it just shows me how the spirit is like like I'm not really in control here. Like
Mhm.
there's something else living through me, and maybe I'll wake up or maybe not. And
Mhm.
you woke up, right? Your spirit was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So cool. And then through, I mean, that was so, how many years? That was a while ago.
20 years ago,
Yeah,
basically.
20 years ago, right? So you've had this like real deep journey of like self-awareness and evolving. And we met each other at a training, like I mentioned, with Yoga Nidra. And I want to talk about Yoga Nidra because it has been the most transformative tool that I have stumbled upon in
Mm.
my almost 3 decades of healing myself.
Mhm.
And so, how did you come about it? Like, how did you stumble onto, right? Like, how?
Yeah. Well, our teacher, Jana Romer, is
Yeah.
actually a dear friend of mine. And
Mm,
we met years ago when our babies were very, very, very young. And I actually met Jana's husband, Mark, when their boy Freddie was just 5 months old, and we met in a like cool high vibe coffee shop, buttery brews and sugar free, refined free
yummy.
muffins and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And we're talking, and he's like, oh my God, you have to meet my wife. She's going to love you.
Mm,
And so that was our first connection. And as
mhm.
in new mamahood, like we connected, and, we adored each other. And then like life kind of took us our other ways. And then we came back, and there was some mama coaching involved with me and her.
Mhm.
And, she'll always speak to how that was such, a pivotal aspect for her and her relationship with Freddie. And I started diving into Jana's teachings.
Mhm.
And, she's so wise and has so many downloads in, astrology and, the neuroscience world and
Mhm.
Yoga Nidra. And so I was following along and, starting to do it, but kind of not on the deepest level. And once I realized
Yeah.
that Jana's work and my work are actually so similar.
Yeah.
So I am trying to consciously program the subconscious mind of young children and supporting the parents in the awareness of how to do that. And Jana is healing the adult population by helping them reprogram their subconscious, minds. And basically what we're doing is, as adults, we are removing the limiting beliefs to step into liberating beliefs. And when that happens, the parent can come into wholeness, and through the nervous system development, through brain development, through the way that the subconscious mind works, we can be programming our children then with these healing, liberating belief systems, instead of passing down the generations of fears and insecurities and
Mhm.
limiting beliefs and all the things that keep us trapped in our own, own minds,
Mhm.
right? That
Mhm.
we've taken on from our parents as a form of love. Like, mom,
Yeah.
dad, I love you so much, I'll take on this pain. And
Mhm.
it's a subconscious thing, it's just the way it works. I just love describing it in that way because, nature, nurture, like we're in that environment so much. Of course, we're going to take on the patternings of our parents.
Yeah.
It's the way
So true.
mammals operate,
Yeah.
they're mirror neurons.
Yeah.
We take on the pattern of those around us. We take on the
Yep.
belief systems of those around us, and it gets
Yep.
programmed at a young age. So Jan is healing the adult population, and I am reprogramming the way parents step into parenthood
Mm-hmm.
so that they
Mm-hmm.
understand it's this massive healing journey of healing ourselves so that we can gift a different future to our children.
And do you like get these mamas into Yoga Nidra?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so I'm right in the middle of my virtual conscious parenting course
Uh-huh.
where next week's going to be week 6, and it's an 8-week program. So we're
Yep.
actually like nearing towards the end. And in week 1 and 2, part of their homework is
Yeah.
Yoga Nidra.
Good.
So in week 1, it was Jana's Pisces season, which is
Yep.
all about the inner child, because we were talking about conscious parenting, which is the awareness that it's coming back to us. Most of these parenting issues come back to us. And when we have that awareness of like, wow, how am I not honoring me? What is my role in this? How have I not honored my inner child? Like, where am I suffering from childhood wounds that I don't even remember, but now they're getting triggered through my child's just normal child actions and
Yeah.
reactions. And then week 2, I have them do the Gemini season 1, which is all about, because week 2 is wholeness and how to raise whole beings. And so if we aren't whole, if we aren't modeling wholeness, if we aren't modeling self-care, if we aren't modeling how to downregulate our nervous system in trying situations, how can we ever expect our children to show up and do any of these things
Yeah.
as well? We have
Yeah.
to gift them the tools
Yeah.
through learning. We
That's
can't
so
just
true.
say it. Our children feel us way more than they hear us, you know, like they're going to feel our energetic body. They're going to see our actions in the world. They're going to, you know, they hear our words, of course, but more so they're listening to our words when we're speaking to ourselves and other people than even them.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, well, they feel it, right? They just like, they're such feeling beings when
Mm-hmm.
they're so young, like, and parents, like we walk into the room and everything can change, right? And they're like, whoa, what's happening? So it's so good that you're giving that gift to the mamas so they can start changing their whole energy. How often are you meditating?
For me, I have a daily practice.
Yeah. What's it look like?
Right now, my June 1st on daily meditation practice, I do Kundalini a lot.
Okay.
That's a big part of my practice as
Nice.
well. So I'm doing a bunch of Kriyas. My current meditation, it's, you know, I start with little mantra, move into cat cow. I'm doing ego eradicator. I'm doing the addiction meditation and the abundance meditation as my kind of set right now for
Yeah.
June that I've been working on. And I have a Yoga Nidra practice. I attempt for a daily Yoga Nidra practice. It's more multiple times a week. I gift myself
Yeah.
Monday nights live with Jana here in LA. Yesterday morning, I did a Yoga Nidra practice, and then it was not the day before, but the day before that, I did an evening Yoga Nidra practice. So I'm probably doing Nidra now about 3 to 5 times a week.
So juicy.
Yeah, if not more sometimes, you know, and I'll wake up and I'll need, like right now, the Gemini season 1 is only 30 minutes and amazing. So if I wake up and I'm off, I'm like, Nidra, time, time to drop into me.
So, a lot of, women are listening to this show, right? And moms and single ladies as well. But I want to hear from you if you could give, like, a lot of them are super busy, right? So how do you carve out that time
Mm-hmm.
to put in a practice? Right?
Yeah.
Like, because I have, like, my practice is almost 2 hours a day. And, like, I'm up at 5:15 in the morning. So I'm carving out my time because I know that if I don't have that, forget it. So how, let's give some practical tips on, like, how are you carving out time?
I think the first thing is having realistic expectations, like getting your toe wet. You know,
Right.
like I think if, you know, we were to say to someone like create 2 hours for a meditation practice, they'd be like, no way. Like that's so far away from their current
Correct.
reality.
Yep.
So it has to be something that can work into their world. Like for me, years ago, when I first started doing like a daily practice in Kriyas, like my daily practice was 6 minutes. It was like 2-3 minute meditations. But I needed to be in that space for an extended period of time just to know that, hey, I can show up for myself for 6 minutes a day. And like literally, even if you're starting with every day you take 3 long, slow, deep breaths, no matter what throughout the day. Like that, I feel like is accessible to everyone. And it may
Yeah.
seem silly to like the deep meditators out there and everything, but everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's where I started years ago. It was like,
Yeah.
you know, 2-3 minute meditations.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I started. And I did that for like a year and a half or
Mm-hmm.
more, like almost 2 years. And I
Mm-hmm.
did other things on top of that, but that was like every day I'm doing this for myself. And that
Yeah.
was my self-care meditation practice as I eased into this like daily ritual of loving myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously now I love myself much, you know, longer on many days, but I'm a single working mama. Like
Mm-hmm.
even sometimes for me to be like, oh, this 15-minute meditation, it can feel, and then Nidra on top of that.
Right.
But what I'll say is the people that say I have no time for that, those are the people that need it the most.
So true.
You know, because
So
if you
good.
can't carve out 3 long, slow, deep breaths or
Yeah.
3 minutes, like
Yeah.
something's off in your world, you
Yeah.
know, because think about it. I mean, even 1 hour a day, what percentage of that? That's like 6% of the day. Like if you're not
Mm-hmm.
investing 6% of your day in you,
Yeah.
there's something off there. And obviously we could probably change those numbers to waking hours, but still it feels like if we're the most important part of our operating system and our world, like what percentage should you be investing in yourself?
Okay. I love this idea right here. I'm taking my note here. 6% of the day. Like invest in yourself for 6%. Like that's like minimum, right? Like, oh my God. But I like this idea of two 3-minute meditations as well. And
Yeah.
it can be that simple. I love that's a juicy,
Yeah.
juicy tip.
Yeah. Or even just 3 long, slow, deep breaths and
Yeah.
then just sit in stillness for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes. Just sit without an agenda, without a to-do list. And yes, your mind's going to run. That's the way like meditation works, but just
Yeah.
stopping for a moment. Like there's some days where I'm like, whoa, I have not slowed for
Right.
hours. I'm going
Right.
to sit and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to find
Right.
my center, because
Mhm.
anything I do from
Mhm.
an aligned, centered, calm self is going to be that
Mhm.
much more productive than running sporadically, chasing my day. And I
Mhm.
think the difference is when you have some sort of practice, some sort of breath practice, meditation practice, yoga practice, awareness practice, whatever feels good
Mhm.
and juicy to you, you get to be the one leading your world, leading
Yes.
the day versus chasing it.
Yeah, forget chasing it.
And there's a totally different
Oh,
energy, you
so
know?
yeah.
You're just always
So
trying
good.
to catch up.
Oh my God, Tamara, that's so good. Yeah, I never want to chase again. Like that I know for that is done.
Yeah.
No more. I love that. So I hope you guys are hearing that. No more chasing. Um,
Allow,
okay, Tamara,
allow, allow.
right, right. Okay, so let's see. Do you have any kind of goodies that you want to share with the audience or want to send them somewhere so they can check you out even more?
Yeah, yeah. So come, I mean, I have I'm finally getting to the social media game. So I'm on Instagram and I really been really investing in time to give some juicy content. I have tons of conscious parenting
Good.
tips and shifts and how to remove guilt and shame from parenting and
Yes.
alternatives to good job and language tools around not using the word no and what you can do instead. And you know, I'm just every week I'm giving
Good.
tidbits there, you know, so come join me on the Instagram community. All of my work can be found at wellyness.com. My next virtual conscious parenting course is the end of September. So the super early bird pricing is up for that. Working with
Yay.
me privately, all my services, it's just all on wellyness.com, WELLYNEST.com. And yeah, I love engaging with people that are wanting to make these shifts and changes. And
So
I make
important.
myself as available as possible while
So
also
important.
honoring me and my daughter and my time and all
Yeah,
of that.
so important. I just think the work that you're doing it's epic, right? Because I really believe that we're in a place right now of if shit doesn't change, we're going dark. Like, right. And so we have to think about the kids, you know, the generations that are coming up behind us and
Mhm.
really changing all the mindsets, right?
Yeah.
Really changing the energetic field. Like I really looking at things differently. So I'm so grateful that you do the work that you do. It's like, oh, thank you. Thank you for being on the show with me today and spending some time and talking about Yoga Nidra and about the work that you do in the world and about making a shift, making a decision to make a shift. Thanks for being with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Don't forget, grab the app. Start your journey with Yoga Nidra today. Thanks for listening.
Coming Home, a podcast with Lane Kennedy.